Calgary Flames fans, it's time for Flames Unfiltered. Entertaining and controversial hockey talk. Your host, Brad Burud.
Would the real Calgary Flames please stand up? Hell, would the Flames we saw in Toronto just stay? Good evening and welcome to Flames Unfiltered, episode number 90. I'm the host of the show, Brad Burud. It is February 25th, 2021, and an early morning recording as we prepare for an evening battle with the Ottawa Senators. Damn, this season's been a roller coaster. I don't even know what to say. Emotionally, it's just been, we're good, we're bad, we're good, we're the worst we've ever been. We're the best we've ever been. I don't know. I'm happy and feel a little better after the Toronto games. Every night I sit and I wonder what Flames team's going to show up, and that kind of bothers me because, not trying to be negative, but I just feel like in weeks now we're going to be talking about consistency, work ethic, the want. These are all topics that have come up for the past 3 years, and we've prayed they'd go away and just never have. Are they going to go away? Is this the end of it? I doubt it. I don't think they will until the core is gone. But you know what? I like their game in Toronto. I liked even the loss. Not quite as good as the night before, but yeah, not bad. But these negative consistency things need to go away, and these players need to be professional hockey players. And they need to play like professional hockey players because you know what? We need points so bad now. And this stretch with Ottawa scares the living daylights out of me. But yeah, we need 6 out of 8 in my mind to keep pace with the rest of the North. 4 games of the next 5 are against Ottawa. So that's 8 available points. We got an Edmonton game slipped in the middle there, or towards the end of it there. But yeah, we honestly need points badly. There's no more moral victories. A big thanks goes out to our sponsor, NHL.com. Shop NHL.com. Yeah, I should say that the right way. Spark Hydrate, KT Tape, Fanatics, Riders Eyewear, AccuScore, HOTMIC, Inside Edge Hockey News. Yeah, couldn't do it without all of them. And today's show, we're going to kick the show off with some game recaps. We'll talk about the home-on-home Battle of Alberta. Yeah, not fun. And then we'll recap the 2 games series in Toronto. And then we'll take time to talk about Coach Ward and his constant use of the line blender. Frustrating as hell, and we keep seeing it. Then we will join myself and Blake Friars with a segment we recorded earlier this week from the Debate Hockey podcast, talking about the doom and gloom of Calgary and Vancouver and how the emotions change each week, and how Vancouver will be up and then down and Calgary will be up and then down. And are either of these teams going to find a way to pull it together and make the playoffs? Then we'll talk about some Flames news, some news from the North, a listener question, and we'll wrap with a quick preview of the 3-game set in Ottawa. And yeah, that's going to be a stressful series, actually. I'm a little bit more worried about that one, to be honest with you, than the Toronto one. Thanks for joining. Sit back, enjoy another episode of Flames Unfiltered. All right, Flames fans, game of the week, HOTMIC tonight, Thursday night. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the show, and time to recap some games. As Edmonton heads into Calgary on last Friday night, the 19th. Riddick in net, giving Markstrom a break. Smith in net for Edmonton. No Monahan, he's out with a lower body injury, and the start was horrendous. 5 straight shots for the Edmonton Oilers. Puljujärvi with a goal, 1-0. Just like that, and the Flames are playing from behind again. Anderson does help the Flames with a nice pass from Giordano and a goal, and that gets the Flames on the board. We're tied 1-1. In the third period is when Sam Bennett gets benched, and there's really no explanation for it. He had played 6 minutes up until then, had 4 shots more than any other Flame, and we're packing Sam Bennett on the bench, and we're going down that shit show road again. 0 emotion in this game, 0 battle. Probably the worst Battle of Alberta game I've ever seen for emotion. I hated the way Calgary played, and it resulted in a 2-1 loss to the Oilers. The following night, back-to-back, it's in Edmonton this time. That's the last Saturday night, the 20th. Markstrom against Koskinen. And I'm really not even going to talk about this game. So McDavid gets his 9th hat trick. It was embarrassing. It was horrendous. Yeah, we talked on sports radio after about how the Flames actually played better than the Friday night. And I would agree with that. But all in all, when you lose to the Oilers 7-1, it's a head shaker. It's a head shaker. And it's sad from a team that we thought this year was going to take another step. We had brought in our goalie, who got hung out to dry in this game, ended up getting yanked. He didn't look like he was on. How do you blame him? How many games has he won us already this year? It's kind of hard to be pissy with him, right? This is an embarrassing loss, and one that sent Flames Twitter and Flames Talk Radio into another hemisphere. And me too. I think as I sat and reflected on Sunday, it was in my top 3 or 4 moments of my Flames career fan since 84. Yeah, it was in my top 5, probably would be a safer bet. And that's not good. We all hope so we'd wake up and see some changes. Yeah, that might be knee-jerk, but it also might be needed. Monday, the Flames are back at it in Toronto. Riddick in net against Hutchinson as Markstrom comes down with an injury, and Anderson is injured also. So backup goalies on both ends of the rink. Monahan is back in this game. Calgary gets off to a very, very, very strong start. Anderson makes a strong pinch, slaps one on net. Bennett bangs home the rebound. Flames score first for the first time in 6 games. Think about that. Tkachuk tips one in, 2-0. Flames, this is a key point of the game, I think. Flames kill off a 5-on-3, a lengthy 5-on-3 at that, against one of the best power plays in the National Hockey League. And 2-0 still. Monahan adds a third on the power play in the third period, 3-0. Riddick with the shutout. An amazing, amazing shutout. A solid 60 minutes from the whole team. And when it was done, I was really happy. But in a way, I was almost really frustrated too. Because it was one of those moments where it's like, so this team can actually play like this when they want to. But sometimes they just choose not to want. God, that's frustrating as a fan. All the hard-earned money for tickets, all the hard-earned money for merchandise, and all the hard it takes just to be a fan. And we get some of the performances we've gotten this year. All in all, after Monday night's game, I was really, really happy with this team. Really impressed with that 60 minutes. Wednesday night, game 2 in Toronto, and the final game in Toronto on this set. Hutchinson against Hutchinson in net for Toronto again. And yeah, we get going right away. And Riddick's in net for Calgary as I'm choking on my bottle of water. Calgary starts off with 3 penalties right away. And yeah, they have 5 total in this game. Probably more than you'd want. It sparked me to pull some stats up and to see how Calgary ranked amongst the NHL in penalties. And they're in the middle of the pack at 17th currently. I just think that we would be ideal if we could get it down to 3 penalties per game. What this team does, and we seem to have nights where we'll have 7 penalties and then the next night 2, and then 5, and then 3. And we just kind of are all over the place. We need to be a little bit more careful with our stick, but still be aggressive with our stick. Riddick, another huge night, I thought. Big save after big save. Really battled, stayed calm in his net, and it was really nice to see him staying calm. Valimaki with I thought he was great in the second period. He deflected, I don't know how many cross-ice passes that could have resulted in one-timer goals. I thought he played real well. Minus the final play of the game, I thought Giordano had a much better 2 nights in Toronto than he had up until that series. Penalty kill was really strong, and I can't say enough about Michael Backlund and Nordstrom on the penalty kill. I know you guys all are ripping on Nordstrom and have these grandiose expectations for Nordstrom, but you guys, we brought him in as a role player, and that's what he's doing. He's killing those penalties for us. Remember that. We didn't bring him in to score 20 goals. He was brought in as a role player. 4th line hard worker, a guy that plays the body, and a guy that is great on the penalty kill. I personally think we've gotten that from him. 3rd period, 3 minutes to go. Lindholm to Tkachuk. Majapani out front, bangs it home. Huge goal. Flames go up 1-0, 3 minutes to go. From there, and probably expectedly, since Toronto controlled most of the 3rd period, play is in Calgary's end, and they pull their goalie early, and Lindholm hits the post on an empty netter, which was a hard angle. I don't fault him on that. With 1:28, there's a mad scramble in front of the net. Toronto, Nylander bangs one home in the mad scramble. Some question of whether there was goalie interference. I questioned in the beginning. I watched the replays a couple times over, and I thought, yeah, too risky to challenge. I know Ward was getting crucified on Twitter and for not challenging. A little risky since it was going to be a tie game and you're going to be shorthanded. I get why he didn't. I wouldn't have been pissed if he would have, though. I don't think it would have been overturned, though. I really don't on this one. It was just one of those plays. Not even Riddick's fault. So, I mean, unfortunately, another 2 games in a row, he would have had a shutout, and that was squandered. But, you know, a point was gained, and we go to overtime. Nylander scores early on into overtime, and it's 2-1. Toronto in a game that was disheartening because the Flames only got 1 point. But Flames fans, I'm often negative, but I'm going to throw a positive twist on this. If I would have told you we were going to get 3 to 4 points in Toronto in a 2-night stand, I think there isn't any of us that wouldn't have been like, yeah, I'm taking that. That sounds pretty good. All right, let's talk about Coach Ward again. And, you know, I've been picking on him a lot lately. And I don't know why I feel like I need to keep justifying my thoughts on this. And I think part of it is because we've went through so many damn coaches in recent years that to fire another coach sounds absurd. But I'm firing him for his maneuvering and his constant line blender. Having different line combinations every single night doesn't work. He has switched lines so many damn times. I think he's had every mathematical combination together at some point this year. That's not healthy for a team. It's not. Let's take a look at the last week. in Vancouver last Wednesday. He had Simone with Gaudreau and Monahan. Yeah, still trying that experience, which doesn't work. You know, he had Bennett centering the fourth line with Nordstrom and Ritchie. I don't get that. Tanev and Hannafin were together. Gio, Valimaki, Nesterov, Anderson. That's fine. I haven't really had a whole lot of problem with the defense this year. Let's talk about that quick. Mackey comes in for Nesterov Friday night, and Nesterov is back in Saturday night. And then we see Shillington on Monday, and we see Shillington on Wednesday. And I didn't think Shillington was too bad. But then I didn't think Mackey was horrible either. And I've actually been probably more disappointed in Nesterov the last week, but was also happy with him prior to that. I don't think defense is our problem, and I'm not so worried and freaking out about the minor tweaks that we've done on defense. Really, all we've done on defense is what I would agree with coaching-wise, and that's plugging in a player when you need to. You're not jumbling all the lines to do that. And that's kind of one of the beefs I have with the forward lines. Monahan gets hurt. Instead of plugging in someone in Monahan's spot, we have to jumble all four lines and break the continuity of all four lines for one injury. We see this on a nightly basis. Friday night, then, instead of, Gaudreau, Monahan, Simone, we got Gaudreau, Lindholm, Dubé, Mangiapane, Backlund, and Tkachuk, Bennett centering Ritchie and Lucic, and Fraze centering Nordstrom and Levo. Now, all of a sudden, Levo's back into the lineup on the fourth line. Then the next night, Leoka jumps up to the first line with Gaudreau and Lindholm. The dude goes from fourth line to healthy scratch to first line. How the hell does that work? All the lines are messed up again that night. Bennett is centering Lucic and Dubé, which I'm fine with. But he should be with Gaudreau and Lindholm because that's worked the best this year, in my opinion. Godin steps in with Robinson and Nordstrom. I don't know. Then Monday night, we're back to Tkachuk, Lindholm, Mangiapane, which it should be. Monahan, Gaudreau, Bennett, which we've had the best success with. Backlund, Dubé, Lucic, which we've had good success with. And then Godin, Levo, and Nordstrom. Now, yes, I understand that the fourth line's probably going to be a revolving door somewhat. But shouldn't that be the plug-and-play line, and let's keep the other three lines consistent? Wednesday night, we saw pretty much the exact same lineup, with the exception of Levo coming in after being a healthy scratch after evidently not doing well on the first line. He goes out, comes back in on the fourth line on Wednesday night. The line shuffling has been outrageous this year. A positive is in Toronto, we never saw the lines shuffled during the game, which is a freaking miracle this year with Coach Ward. Because every time we get down or we're not scoring and producing, the freaking blender comes out. But I had a question for Coach Ward. Until the 3-minute mark of the third period, we still hadn't scored. But the line blender didn't come out. So explain to me, when you're down 3-0 and not creating offense, the blender comes out. But when you're 0-0 and not creating offense, no blender. What the hell is the difference? We still aren't scoring. But I think we saw in Toronto, just like we saw earlier in the year when we did have a few games of success, the lines stay consistent. I don't know how much or how none of the coaching staff is in his ear or Trelivan's ear saying, dude, quit freaking screwing with the lines. Let them gel. Let them build some consistency. Let them build some confidence together. It's ridiculous. We cannot win if we're going to continue to shuffle lines every time the going gets tough. Gosh, it's frustrating. And this open door policy where he likes to sit and talk down and make sure the players are happy, I think it's bullshit. I don't think the players are happy with the line shuffling. I might be wrong. I'm not in the locker room. But I don't know how, as a player who I played a lot of hockey, I have no idea how every fourth shift being out with another pairing is going to help my game or help the team. I don't think if you ask any player that helps. Now, again, I feel like I always have to preface everything. Every time I bring up Coach Ward's name, I don't solely blame Coach Ward for this season. The core hasn't been there. But you need to produce consistency. Keeping the lines together is the first step in that. Our coaching history in Calgary is not good. Let's go back a decade. Actually, a little more than a decade. 2 decades almost. Don Hayes, 68 games only. Greg Gilbert, 121. Daryl Sutter, 210. Playfair, 82. Mike Keenan, 164. Brett Sutter, 246. Bob Hartley, 294. Glenn Gulletson, 164. Bill Peters, 110. Jeff Ward, 48. You look at that list. Let me ask you a question. Is there a premier coach on that list? Maybe Daryl Sutter. But wasn't a premier coach until after he took Calgary on a run and then won a couple cups with LA. I don't hire premier coaches. I'm not saying that's always the answer, but after 20 years of not winning the Stanley Cup, I don't know, maybe you should try it. Claude Julien was fired yesterday in Montreal. Friend of Jeff Ward's. I'm not saying bring in Claude Julien. But numerous fans would love to have a veteran proven coach, including myself. And the names Gerard Gallant and Bruce Boudreau continue to come to my mind. All right, Blake. Last week, we spent about a good solid 30 minutes raising your blood pressure, beating your team to death. And this week, you know what? It's happened in a funny way, man, because we're talking, what should the Calgary Flames do as they have hit the shit skids? There's no other word to describe it. It's been ugly. It's been bad, and there's a lot more to it than what's just happening on the ice, and that's probably an even more frustrating part of the whole damn thing. So, Blake, you seem to be the expert on the Flames some nights when you text me to piss me off, so I'm going to throw it into your court because I've got a lot to say about this, but you're the smart ass who I got to ignore all the time. Texting me.
I like getting you going. You like getting me going. It's all fun and games.
That's why we do this, Blake, right? So, where do you think the problem lies?
Well, first area I would look at it if I was reviewing the season so far as a head coach. That would be the first direction I would look because Jeff Ward, I mean, he did a good job when he took over for Peters last year and he got that interim tag and Calgary had that wild run, went into the playoffs and fizzled out against Dallas. Okay, so you're Brad Treliving.
Made a horrible coaching decision during the Dallas game.
Yep. Absolutely. So you know, you go into that offseason, Brad Treliving looks at his roster. He says, okay, what do we need? We need a starting goalie. Okay. They go out and get Jacob Markstrom. Problem solved.
The best person
probably the best goaltender available. Okay, we need to upgrade our defense. Or we need to shore up our right side. Let's go and get Chris Tanev. Solid move.
Heart and
soul guy. Yep. I love the guy to death. Just wish he was a little more healthy in his career, but great player. So they go out and address those needs. They bring back Majipani. They tinker with their bottom six a little bit, but the most of the top six stayed intact. Okay. So, you know, we were wondering, is Calgary going to make a move? Is Johnny Gaudreau going to get traded? Johnny Gaudreau has been one of Calgary's best players this year.
Yeah,
hands down. He doesn't play defense very much. He's lazy, but he's producing. And when Johnny Gaudreau is producing, what's that?
I'm not going to disagree, but don't forget where you're at because I want you to keep going. But I want to talk about that a little bit. I think Johnny Gaudreau has been really good this year. I do. And I think he's actually been working pretty hard too.
Mm-hmm.
But here's where I still think the Flames need to trade him. Next year, he's in his final year.
Yep.
He's going to want a pay raise. Are you willing to pay him $9 million? I'm not. He also, at the end of the summer, goes into a he gets a
no trade, 5-team no trade list.
5-team no trade list.
Yeah.
That kills leverage.
Yeah.
I don't think he re-signs in Calgary. Number one, I don't think he wants to be here. I think he wants to play in Philly or New Jersey. I have no information on that at all other than that's what I feel. Second thing is this. Is he a guy that's going to get you over the hump in the playoffs? No, he's not.
He'll get you there, but he ain't going to win a cup.
No.
He's not that type of player.
No, but
I mean, he's a superstar. Like, if Calgary had a couple more Tkachuks, okay, well, we're talking, because those are guys that you build your team around. Look at today. Mows Tavares over. Absolutely drills Tavares. And then that sparks the team. And they go out and get a couple more goals. So, I mean, Tkachuk has been a problem for Calgary. He, ever since it seems like that Muzzin incident, that guy hasn't been himself.
We're going to talk about that next, but let me finish my Gaudreau thing, and then we're going to talk about that's next on the list. But here's the deal. Like, I look at the Gaudreau thing, and you just said it. If you had a couple more guys like Tkachuk, well, a couple more guys like Tkachuk are going to cost you $7 million, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to have a couple more guys like Tkachuk, you can't afford $8 million for Gaudreau.
No, definitely not.
So if you re-sign Gaudreau, you're not going to be able to get that other guy that's going to get you over the hump.
So my question to you is, where do you sit with Sean Monahan? Because I got a lot of Flames fans that say that say he's my favorite player, but I want him traded. I'm like, well, wait, what?
He's my favorite player too, and I want him traded. And here's why. I
don't understand that though.
Okay, here's why. Because I like him because I love when he gets the puck in the slot because I feel like it's going.
It's an automatic goal.
And he's super nice, and he's a super good guy, and he's just everything you want, except he's not a guy that's going to get you over the hump. He's not a gritty grinder guy. He's not. He's inconsistent in his goal scoring.
Hey, whoa. Inconsistent?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
2 goals this year.
Hold on. Inconsistent, this guy says. 22, 31, 27, 27, 31, 34, 22, and 3 goals this year. He's picking up assists, though. I mean, the goals aren't there, Brad. I understand that. But you look at the Flames roster.
So
there's hardly any goals anywhere.
So what do you pay him?
Like, well, he's under contract for what, 2 more years?
Yeah, then what? Can't pay him anymore.
I mean, I think he's making what he's worth. He's making what, 6.5? I don't think he's worth any more than that.
Okay, let me ask you this, Blake.
I give him $5 to $6 million.
Let me ask you this question. He's been rumored to have been shopped for 24 months now, and nobody will take him at that price tag.
I don't know if I buy that. Brad, because I think teams would be lining up to take a guy like Sean Monahan.
You think so?
I really do. I think Sean Monahan, he's good in the dot. He's one of the, like you say, he's one of the best bumpers in the NHL running that power play. Man, if I was Calgary, I would not be trading. I would trade Gaudreau. I wouldn't trade Monahan.
And I would prefer Gaudreau over Monahan too, because I think the return would be higher, number one, and I also think that Monahan is better in the postseason than Gaudreau, but not by much. But here's the deal, Blake. You can love players and love them and love them and love them, but if you keep losing and you keep losing, it turns to hate really fast. And we've watched this team in Calgary, and they've been plugging and plugging and plugging. And I sat back last week, and a friend of mine told me, we're not any different than the Minnesota Wild. And I about puked in my mouth.
He's not wrong.
He's right.
He's 100% right.
So that made me say, I don't.
Well, the only difference between those two teams is Calgary's got a starting goalie. Minnesota doesn't.
Okay, well, we just got him too.
And he's hurt now. So what's the deal? Is that a maintenance day, or is that like, I don't know what to read in that's upper body? So I think he's majorly fatigued. We'll get into that later. But
let's move on to the Tkachuk thing. Let's talk. We talked about Gaudreau. We talked about Monahan.
Yep.
Now let's talk Tkachuk. Let's talk about this puck flip thing.
Sure.
The rumor is in Calgary, and this was rumored before Elliott really talked about it a lot today on 31 Thoughts. It's rumored that when they had that players only meeting, that the players told Tkachuk to chill out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And now the talk in Calgary is the freaking fan base is pissed. They want to know who said that. And they want him gone. Whoever said that. And like they were talking on 960 this morning, and I can't remember which one of the guys said, I don't care if it's 6 guys that said that, you trade them all the next day for whatever you can get. Because that's not what we want in Calgary. That is not the attitude we want.
The thing with Tkachuk is, right, he's a guy who plays with a lot of passion, a lot of emotion, wears his heart on his sleeve, right? You like those guys. You hate them. You hate to play against, but you love to have them on your team.
But he's junk if he doesn't play with that emotion.
And when he reacted like that, I think he sensed that the team was struggling, and he was trying to spark the team. And
I agree.
And I think he was pissed off that nobody came to his defense. I think he was very pissed off about that, but I kind of see both sides. Like, it was the end of the game, players just getting back to their bench, go down into the tunnel. Like, a lot of them didn't see it. When you look at the replay.
Well, Blake, let me ask you this question.
I don't know.
It happened in a beer league game.
Yeah.
Shit would probably go down.
Yeah. 100%. Like,
right?
You don't like, I mean,
and no,
was it harmless?
It wasn't a shot that was going to hurt him. I'm not saying that, but it was an act of embarrassment and showing him up. And you as a team have to have his back.
Yep.
You have to.
Yeah, I agree. So
would have flipped it at Johnny Gaudreau. Tkachuk would have been there with fists a-flying.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he's a guy that sticks up for his teammate. I mean,
and I've been critical of Tkachuk this year.
Believe it or not, though, Matthew Tkachuk is the Flames' most important player. I mean, when Tkachuk goes, the Flames go. Look, he scored today. Yeah. He scored the last 2 games.
You know what?
Both games.
I'm not going to rip on Matthew Tkachuk because I think he's a great player, but I'm sick and tired of his back ass check. The only check tonight that was any good was a check on Tavares, which is a rocket, like blew him up. Yeah. But he always comes in and tries to turn his ass check. I hate that. That's not good. And then I also don't like that. I mean, he struggled this year. He has struggled offensively. If you look at his goals, I would say 70% of his goals have been tipping.
Right in front of the net. Yeah.
And I'm not knocking that because I love the way Ryan Smith played, and that's how Matthew Tkachuk is. And I love that tip in. But he's got to be able to be a little bit more offensive threat than just tipping shots.
Yeah. So I got a question. One more point here about Monahan, and then we'll move on. So Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is a free agent after this year. Okay.
Yeah.
Very similar players, very similar stat lines. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins makes $7 million. What do you think? Yeah, they did fight last year. What do you think a guy like that makes in open market? Here's the deal. Like, he's in the same boat as Monahan.
Like, I don't think that, how do you, and even Gaudreau, like, how do you justify a pay raise with the cap where it's at?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they're getting a pay raise. I don't think
I think players are going to have to buy into the system for a couple of years.
They're going to have to, because guess what? Like, if you're an owner, right? What owner is going to be like, hey, it's a good decision to give, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins a pay raise? Like, I don't see that happening right now. I don't think he's there to do it.
I think there's going to be a lot of creative contracts coming up. I mean, I think you're going to see. I think maybe you see some deferred money.
You can't.
Why?
It's the cap right away. You can't back end load a contract.
Well, you can. You can. I mean, you can structure it like to backload the money on the contract on that.
Yeah, but the AAV counts the same.
Yeah,
the AAV gets divided out equally.
Yeah.
And right now, nobody has cap or AAV to spend.
Yeah.
So how in the hell are these guys getting a pay raise? They're not.
It's going to be interesting, like, because the cap ain't going up for a couple of years,
and their play doesn't justify it, does it?
Well, you could argue Nugent Hopkins. I think he's having a really good year this year. He's got 18 points, 20 games. It's not too bad.
The Canucks signed him for $8 million. Would you be happy?
I mean, I'd give him 7. I'd give him 7 to play. I'd give him 7 to ride shotgun with Pedersen and Besser. Why not?
So that's not a pay raise then.
No, but I don't think he's worth anything over 7.
You know, I
would give him 7. It's just an interesting comparison. That's all.
Now you get back to Calgary, and one of the things that frustrates me the most is that for 3+ years, at least 2 to 4 times a year, we've heard the conversations about commitment, work ethic, drive, and a want.
Mm-hmm. Where's that right now?
It's a problem.
There's not a lot of that right now.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, today they look like they played with a lot of purpose. They played with a lot of passion, and they beat a very good hockey team over in Toronto.
Well, they beat Toronto, and that was only Toronto's 4th loss in regulation all year.
Yep.
But just think about this.
It's there. That's what's frustrating as a fan.
But Blake, when we have to keep having this conversation about want and work, the core has to be broke up on this team.
What is your core right now?
The core? It's easy. Gaudreau? No, you can't count him yet because these guys are brand new. You can't.
He's your core.
Okay.
You got it for the next 6 years. 100% he's in your damn core.
So Markstrom, Gaudreau, Monahan, Giordano, Tkachuk,
and Lindholm.
Yep.
That's your 6.
And Tanev, if you want to add him, I guess, because you're adding 4-year contracts. Okay. So you know who you get rid of?
Well, Giordano's 36.
Well, Giordano's going to be gone in 2 years anyways.
Yeah.
But you know you got to get rid of Gaudreau and Monahan.
Both?
Absolutely.
Who the hell's replacing him?
We'll figure that out. I mean, you can't. Well, you're going to lose Gaudreau for nothing if you don't do something.
Hold on. It's one or the other, dude. It's one or the other. It ain't both.
They have to both go.
No, there's no shot Brad Treliving will trade both those guys. No snowball chance in hell. Unless Dylan Dubé takes a massive step. A massive step.
You got to be able to get something in return.
Okay. All right. We talked about this. I think it was in the summertime. What you would get for Johnny Gaudreau. The way he's playing right now, you probably get a 1st-round pick. You maybe get a fringe NHL player and a prospect. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
So if Philly offered you Morgan Frost, a 1st-round pick, and a prospect.
Done.
Okay. So you look at Monahan. You're probably I don't think you're getting a 1st-round pick from Monahan.
No, you're not.
You're probably getting a couple seconds or a second and a third and a prospect. So you're okay with that.
Yeah.
So what Calgary did, okay, in a sense, what Calgary did, they signed Markstrom to a 6-year contract. They have most of their core locked up for the next, say, 3 to 4 years, okay, outside of Gaudreau and Monahan, okay. Most of the people are under contract. Let's go take a look. Let's go to Cap Friendly right now and take a look. When you bring in a guy like Markstrom, okay, Brad, you do not blow up the team.
That's not blowing up the team, Blake.
Trading Gaudreau and Monahan is blowing up the team.
No, it's
because
not.
You're stepping backwards. The players that you're getting back for those 2 players will not be in your top 6. So you're banking on a 1st and a couple picks. So 3-4 years down the road to help you when Calgary is in win now mode right now, Brad.
They're not going to win now.
But I'm saying you signed Markstrom to 6x6. It's go time. It's go time, right? That's what Calgary's been missing. That's what Calgary's been missing since Kiprusoff is goaltending, right? You got your guy. Now help him.
Yeah, somebody else to replace these guys. We need to shake up. Blake, look at how we played. Listless. We have no get up and go.
Okay. Sean Monahan. He's after this year. He's got 2 years. Johnny Gaudreau 1 year. Tkachuk 1 year. Backlund, is he worth 5.3 for the next 4? You didn't even list him as part of your core.
I think he is. I think he's probably one of our best players. Lindholm, our best, most consistent.
The Lucic contract is awful. Well, Lindholm, great deal. 4.8, good value. Okay. What are you going to do with Sam Bennett? Mangiapane next 2 years. Levo hasn't done much. Dylan Dubé, he's either really good or he's really bad some games.
Ben will be moved. Will be gone. Lundstrom will be gone, and Simone will be gone.
Do you want to talk about Jeff Ward?
Yeah, there's not a lot to say. Yeah, I would love to talk about him.
Why the hell is guys like Glenn Gaudin, Dominic Simone, Buddy Robinson playing on your top line? What the hell are you doing?
That's what I've been saying for 2 weeks now.
Last year,
lines every 5 minutes.
Last year, right? It was Mangiapane, Lucic, and Dubé. The best line. Who was on that? It was Dubé, Lucic, and Bennett.
Bennett, Lucic, and Dubé.
The best line of your team in the playoffs last year. We have hardly seen that line all year.
I know.
Why?
Because
don't fix what's not broken. Why change?
He fixes every game, man.
Listen, if you guys keep losing, he's gone. He has to be fired.
Like 2 games ago, Josh Levo was healthy scratched. The next game, he was the right wing on the first line.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous, man. Seeing some of the line combinations, like I said, I got a lot of Flames fans that are my buddies, and we text after the games, and he's just like, "Oh man, I can't wait." One of my buddies says, "I hope we lose 10-0 to Edmonton tonight, so Jeff Ward gets fired." And it's like it's tough because when you get into that mindset as a fan, it's tough. It sucks because I went through that with Vancouver last week, losing 7 in a row. But now they're starting to play a little better. They're still watchable. They're still losing games. It sucks. You want your team to win every single game. And when you know that the team is capable of putting like Calgary, what they did today, you know it. Like as a fan, you know that team can go that level. It's just got to be there.
Like, it's frustrating because I think Coach Ward needs to go for sure. But yeah. I'm also gonna make a couple points about that. I'm not letting this core off the hook. We went through 4 coaches. Now, the only reason I'm saying Coach Ward's got to go is I'm not saying that because I think the core is doing good, or I'm letting them off the hook. I'm saying Coach Ward needs to go as step 1, and then somebody from the core has got to go as step 2. And the reason I'm saying Coach Ward, and it's purely coaching decisions. He's making horrendous coaching decisions. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, I look at this, and Calgary currently, right after tonight, is 2 points back of Montreal for the final playoff spot. Now, tonight's performance was impressive.
Yeah.
You've got 1 more versus Toronto and 4, I believe, against Ottawa coming up, which
those should be automatic dubs.
But that's what scares me, because what if we split with them? Like, it's like, if
you lose, if you split the Ottawa, oh man, I don't even want to tune into the radio shows in Calgary. The city will fucking burn down.
It's partially on fire right now. The sun is not coming up. It hasn't for the last couple of days. But here's the problem, and here's what scares me the most. I don't think they'll fire Coach Ward. Because
why not? Why not?
There's no fans. There's no revenue. And they're probably still paying Bill Peters right now. They're not going to pay 3 coaches. I don't think it happens, man. I don't think the ownership is going for that at all. They're going to say, dude, you just hired him freaking 18 games ago. Like, what do you do?
If Calgary drops like 3 of 4 or 4 of their next 5, Brad,
I hope you're right. I just don't feel like the ownership's going to pony up the money.
I got a question about the coach. One of my 3 questions. So I'll ask you that question. But so right now, do you have any hope of this team making the playoffs?
Well, yeah, I do. And the only reason I do is because I see the potential this team has tonight. So, can they make the playoffs? Yeah. But you know what the sad truth of this is? The reason they would make the playoffs is bad hockey teams. I think Toronto's the only team that's really, really good. Edmonton's been fairly good. Winnipeg's been fairly good. I think those 3 teams are locks. Montreal's been a little bit lately, but I still think they're pretty solid. And then you got Calgary and Vancouver, who are both fully capable, fully talented enough. These teams just can't. They keep getting in their own way. I mean, they keep shooting themselves in the foot with horrible turnovers. It's so funny because last week the city was burning in Vancouver, and now this week the city is burning in Calgary. And you look at these teams; they have done the exact same thing this year. They have had turnover after turnover after turnover, and then the valve for their offense has shut off.
Yeah,
the problem is the same in both markets.
Yep, I agree.
And it's mad.
It's frustrating as a fan though, because I mean, I'll speak for my team for a second. The last 5 games, they've played really, really, really good, and they only got 1 win and 2 overtime losses to show for it. So
I know
it's like we're playing good, but we're still not winning games. So I'm so sick and tired. Like, I listened to the post game. Well, it's a step in the right direction. Frustrating for sure, but step in the right direction. No, fuck that. Start fucking winning games.
I'm tired of
There ain't no time for moral victories in a 56-game season.
I'm with you. It's the same.
There's no such thing. Maybe in an 82-game season, you have a stretch, maybe where you lose 6 of 8. You played good. You got the rest of the season turned on. It's a sprint. It is a damn sprint to the postseason.
Well, every 4-point game.
Oh man, fuck, it's brutal. I'm so that's all Twitter is moral victories right now. Oh well, we only let in 3 goals instead of 7, so I guess it's got some moral victory. Come on.
Setting moral victories aside, neither one of these 2 teams have the money to change. They don't have. It's tough to make trades right now, and
you can't. You have to wait fucking 14 days to get a player from the States.
Yep.
So that's off the table.
So when is it too late for Calgary and Vancouver?
Oh, I think it's already too late for Vancouver. I mean, they're 4 points out of a playoff spot, but every single team has 4 or 5 games in hand on them.
I know.
So fans go, oh, well, there's 36 games left in this season. We're only 3 points back. No, numbnuts. Look at the games played. Yeah. We're eventually going to have our bye week, and everybody's going to storm past us. So I think the Canucks season's over. I don't think they have a snowball's chance in hell of making the playoffs unless they go on an insane run where they rattle off 6, 7 in a row, which I do not see happening. So we'll see what happens.
Do you think that Calgary's dead?
I don't think Calgary's dead, because at the end of the day, you got Jacob Markstrom. Yeah. He's going to be able to steal you some games. And I like what Dave Riddick did today. Your backs are up against the wall. You need your goalie. Your number one guy is down. He didn't dress. Markstrom's day-to-day with the upper body injury. It's Dave Riddick's time to step up and steal a game for his hockey team. And that's exactly what he did. So
he's been
it's nice. It's nice to see Dave Riddick step up, rise to the occasion. And if you're Calgary and Markstrom's out long-term, you got to roll with Riddick and just go with the punches, I guess. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with
Riddick. Dave Riddick needed to step up and steal your team a hockey game, and they did just that.
Inside Inside Edge Hockey News. Dropping the gloves and stirring the pot.
All right, Flames fans, time for a little bit of Flames news. And we'll start with injuries, because injuries are never fun to talk about, but that's what we're starting with today. Derek Ryan, hand injury. He is still out, no return date set. I haven't heard any updates as of when he will be back lately. I'm hoping to find out something here in the near future. Sean Monahan missed 2 games with a lower body injury back against Toronto on Monday and looked to be in good, actually. I thought Monahan had a really good game. Jacob Markstrom missed 2 games with an upper body injury. Riddick in to start. Zeg Doolin was backing up Riddick as Louis Domingue is on quarantine after attending a family friend's funeral. Sorry to hear that for the Domingue family. Markstrom's injury was described by Ward. Get this one, as day-to-day for a little while. I have never in my life heard anything described like that as far as an injury. Will we see Zagadulin on Thursday night versus Ottawa on the second night of a back-to-back, or will we get Riddick again? I think Riddick will be back. I don't think Markstrom's quite ready yet, and I think Riddick will be able to handle 3 games in 4 nights. He's had plenty of rest, and I also thought he's on a roll. Like, how do you change that? I thought he was flat out amazing in Toronto with tons of 10-bellers, playing as good as I've ever seen David Riddick play, which I was a critic of him last year after the Dallas thing, and I worried about how he would recover from that. And to me, I think he's been good this year. I think he's been really good this year. I think he got crappy run support early in the year, and I think he got crappy run support in Toronto too, but managed 3 out of 4 points, including a shutout. And that shutout streak lasted 137 minutes and 56 seconds. And that's against the number 1 team in the North, with probably, arguably, one of the top 2 most potent offenses in the league. And that's amazing. That was such a good output from David Riddick. The Stockton Heat, let's talk about them, as they have not been extremely good to start the year, as they just got off to a start. And they started on Sunday night, the 21st, series in Calgary against the Toronto Marlies. And, didn't go real well on night 1. 7-1 loss to Toronto. They followed it up with a Tuesday night 5-1 loss to Toronto. And, oh, my God, what's Wednesday going to bring? And it did bring a Stockton win. 4-2 win last night. And Wolf looked good last night. Rosiska looked really good last night. Connor Zary struggled in his first 2 games, had a point last night. Dustin Wolf let in 5 goals on 11 shots in the opener and described his night to the media as a lot different than junior hockey, which I don't fault him for that. He was honest, and I kind of like that. But I thought he struggled in the parts of the game that I watched, and I thought he looked a little better last night, but still trying to find his way at the professional level. I would like to see Glenn Godden head to Stockton now when we get back from this road trip and start playing and getting some time. He had 6 minutes in his first game on Saturday night. It was such a bad game to be judging a guy on too. 2 minutes on Monday night. I hardly noticed he was in there. Most of that due to special teams play throughout that game. And then 4 minutes last night, Wednesday night in Toronto, and was a complete non-factor. But how do you be a factor in 4 minutes? He needs to go get some solid time in the American Hockey League. We cannot waste his talent and not develop him by getting him some minutes. Matthew Tkachuk scores his 100th goal Monday night in Toronto. That snapped a 9-game goalless streak for Tkachuk, and he was much better in Toronto after most of the media was all over him for his play. In that game, he had 6 shots, 6 hits, and he was in the middle of everything. And, it was the Tkachuk we all love and the Tkachuk that we need to have on a nightly basis in Calgary to be successful. Hopefully he carries that on over as he takes on his brother tonight in Ottawa. Let's go around the division and talk about that North Division. And as we currently sit right now, Toronto is atop with 32 points. Edmonton, with an 8-2 record in the last 10, surges up to 26 points. Winnipeg sits in third with 23. Montreal in fourth with 22. Calgary sits 2 back in fifth with 20 points. Vancouver 2 more back with 18 points in sixth. Ottawa with 13 points in 7th. Ottawa team has not been too shabby, though, lately. Getting better. Calgary sits outside with 2 points and also sit outside with a point percentage even now. Games are starting to catch up. We're actually 2 ahead now of Winnipeg and Montreal, still 3 behind Vancouver as they sit ahead of everybody. Some news from around the division. Montreal fires their coach, Claude Julien, on Tuesday morning, which surprised the heck out of me. And interim coach Dominique Darchim, I just said that wrong. Oh, he's an assistant coach for the team. He'll take over as head coach. Assistant coach Kirk Muller, who was in charge of special teams and power play, was also released from his duties. Toronto, Frederick Anderson is out with an injury. Also, Jack Campbell, their backup, is out with an injury. Michael Hutchinson has been carrying the load in net for Toronto, and in my opinion, is doing pretty darn good. Edmonton is on a tear. They have won 4 straight, 8 of their last 10, and the biggest win came Tuesday night when they were down 3-0 to Vancouver and surged back with 4 straight goals to beat the Vancouver Canucks and sending those Canucks to an all-time season low. Boy, their fan base is having a hard go, just like we are in Calgary. And that loss was bad in a lot of different ways. The Canucks are 2-6-2 in their last 10 games, and no help in sight if you're a Vancouver Canucks fan. Let's go on to our listener question from Marcy Graham. Great question. Thank you for sending it to me via email. You can get our email address at flamesunfiltered.com. His question is the firing of Claude Julien a surprise, or does this change the way Calgary approaches Coach Ward in any way? Well, was it a surprise? Yeah, it did. It caught me off guard. Evidently, I'm not in the Montreal loop because I didn't see this one coming at all. Now, a lot of people say that they did see it coming. I didn't. I'm completely honest. I did not see this coming at all. But now, their coach coming in is a rookie coach. And I don't know. I just think a horrible, rash, quick mistake. I don't see it as a smart move in Montreal. And I'm watching. I mean, maybe I'll be proven wrong on this, but I just don't see this. I think this team will flounder and will miss the playoffs now. They're 500 in their last 10 games. This team got off to a red-hot start against some really bad teams, though. And now the true depth of Montreal centers is showing. And this team is struggling a little bit. And I'm not sure how bringing in a coach that I think most of the hockey world would say is not as good as Claude Julien is going to fix this problem. Now, no, the second part of the question, I don't think this plays any effect on the Calgary coaching situation. I expect that our coach Ward will not get fired this year unless something drastic happen. I think it'll all be determined by if we make the playoffs and how we do in the playoffs. I think if we miss the playoffs, I think Treliving and Ward are gone. And I think a lot of the core is gone. They can earn their jobs here. Do I think Coach Ward should be gone right now because of some of his coaching tactics? Heck yeah. If you listen to the last 2 podcasts, I think you know that answer. But can he change those and learn from it? Yeah, I think he can. And he probably will. And we've kind of seen that the last 2 games. And he's kind of put that blender and tucked it away deep in the locker room. And I hope I never see it again.
Get all your Flames Unfiltered podcasts, team news, team updates, and highlights at flamesunfiltered.com.
All right, Flames fans, please check out flamesunfiltered.com for all the past episodes and a bunch of Flames news out on that web page. Let's preview the games in Ottawa. It starts Thursday night, the 25th, as this podcast on the 25th. So tonight, we head into Ottawa and take on the 6-14-1 Ottawa Senators. And I'm guessing it'll be Riddick versus Murray tonight. We'll find out here in just a couple hours. Leading scorers on each team: Johnny Gaudreau leads the Flames with 18 points. Brady Tkachuk leads the Ottawa Senators with 15. He also leads them in goals with 8. Goals per game: Calgary a little bit ahead, 2.58. Ottawa 2.43. The big news in Ottawa is in their last 10, they've gotten 4 of their 6 wins in the last 10 games, and they have been actually doing pretty well with a sweep of Montreal. This series continues on Saturday afternoon, the 27th in Ottawa, and then Monday, March 1st, 6 o'clock start, 5 o'clock start in Calgary, in Ottawa also, and then we will come home for an Edmonton game and then end it the Ottawa 4-game group on Thursday night back home at the Saddle Dome. Now let's talk a little bit about this Thursday night's game, as it is another Hot Mic game of the week. And what is a Hot Mic game of the week? Well, it is a night where we have a Flames watch party. And I host that Flames watch party, and we talk Flames hockey. We complain, we bitch, we cheer, and we talk about the team we love so much. It's great fan interaction, and you can win some pretty cool prizes too. Check Twitter, Facebook, everywhere today for links to get on. And how do you get on Hot Mic? Everybody asks me that. Well, it's easy. You grab your iPhone, you grab your iPad, you grab your Android device, you download Hot Mic. Then you set up an account. It's free. It's easy. It takes 2 seconds. Search Flames. You'll find the Flames Unfiltered group. And then you'll see on the click viewing schedule, you'll see Flames Senators Thursday night. Click on that, and it'll get you into the watch party. Well, when you're in the watch party with all of us Flames fans, you have contests to win stuff. We're giving away a Blasty jersey at the end of the year. If you get on tonight, you connect with Flames Unfiltered on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You join that watch party tonight. You pick the Flames' first goal scorer. You get entered in a contest to win a Blasty jersey that we're giving away right before the playoffs starts. So just in time for all of you guys to sport that new jersey as the playoffs get going, and I pray that we're in those playoffs. Also, each night we give away a set of 2021 Upper Deck Calgary Flames hockey card set, and that goes out to a random participant. Check us out this week on the Hot Mic Game of the Week as we against the Ottawa Senators. We'll be having another one March 4th, also next Thursday night. That one also against the Ottawa Senators. That's what happens with this schedule when you play the same team over and over and over. But I don't hate that. I kind of like it, actually. I've liked this baseball schedule. I know there's been some criticism of it, but I like it. I think it's been a good thing. Well, this week was an emotionally draining week if you were a Flames fan. Oh, did we see it all? Did we see it all? Well, now the pressure doesn't really get any easier as we go into Ottawa, and probably needs 6 out of 8 points to keep pace with the rest of the teams going into Ottawa. The pressure's on this week as the Flames take on the Senators. Let's get rid of this decade-long inconsistent play. Emotions are high right now. The fan base is stressed. The fan base is disappointed, and we want to see this team succeed. We need a good outing in Ottawa from these Flames, and we're here to cheer them on. Thank you, Flames fans, for listening. We truly appreciate it. Follow us on social media at Flames Unfiltered. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Inside Edge Hockey News. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you very much, Flames. It's time. It's time to get some points in Ottawa. The Battle of the Tkachuk start Thursday night. Get connected. Flames Unfiltered can be found on Twitter at Flame Unfiltered. And also make sure you check out our Facebook page at Flames Unfiltered. Check out host Brad Burud on Twitter at Brad Burud. And if you like what you hear, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can find Flames Unfiltered on all the major podcast players. And consider subscribing to Inside Edge Hockey News on Patreon. That'll get you exclusive content and much more. Thanks again and enjoy the hockey action.
Play on! Yeah, baby! Play on! Yeah, baby! Thanks for tuning in to Flames Unfiltered. Check back for more action-packed Calgary Flames talk. This has been a production of Inside Edge Hockey News Radio, copyrighted and distributed by the Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.